Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer1745 here with my continuing playthrough of Hearts of Iron 3 with Black Ice 8 and Third Reich events. We're gonna get moving. Now we're facing... I want to get this Indian Ocean Theater expanded here as quickly as possible. It often does become a logistics problem with shipping here in time. So we are now a global air power. Vectins there and recon unit. Combined arms. As Herman rightfully pointed out, we're a bit behind on a bunch of these techs here. Now, give you a little bit of my thoughts on this. When I improve this tech, I'm improving the infantry units, I'm improving these units here and these units types here. Where, if you notice, I'm a bit more up to date on these because these are much more universal. So, you know, defense and depth, well, that's just where it is. No defense and depth, maybe I'm looking at the wrong. Oh yeah, well, right here. Yeah, see now that one here, I should be researching too, but I think it just now, you know, getting time for it. It's 42, didn't want to do it too much. That's going to do all masterful delays and all elastic defense situations. And similarly with these other ones, that's why I concentrate a bit more on these than I do on these. Because yes, armored categories, any unit type that has that, and nothing really on assault. And it's just these different units, and some of them are unique or near unique units, otherwise they're just, you know, panzer regiments and others, so that it's more of a specific thing versus a universal thing. Now recon unit, some of the recon, if you'll notice, it's all attack movement here, so it's a little bit more universal in helping out. So that's one of the reasons why I'm behind, is because I put greater effort into it. And other things is just I neglect my air power. I've just, in previous versions, found it maybe not as helpful as maybe it could or should be. I'm not saying this version, because they've been tweaking it in about every version coming out of Black Ice, and since Germany obviously is not going to be a major naval power, I'm just putting a little bit of research into it. Okay, advanced resource substitution. That, and the other thing is I very strongly work for these nation techs here to make sure that they are good. And see, like casualty trickle back, that's a good one too. I'm going to go back to that defense in depth one that we were just looking at, since it's now not pushing too far in advance. It's a little, but I don't want to neglect these entirely. We have artillery unit command and control. Let's go with armored unit combined arms. So. Oh, we got plenty of fuel. I'll buy fuel later maybe, but... Okay, these guys... I'm going to send them back up to here. And send it to here. Let's pause. Let's just pause this. Once these guys get organized up a bit more, I'm going to send them to their duty stations. Okay, now here. No. It's going to get back into the ship. Rebase to there. These guys, let's look at revolt risk. We're doing pretty good now. We just had a lot of police there. But we're not going to keep long-term the mountain troops there. These guys are sort of theoretically getting ready for a move east. And partly I just haven't bothered to move them out. Just haven't bothered to move them anywhere else in there. Suppressing local revolt. Okay, that is not the best of news that we lost that. That means we are out of organization there. Layer tactics. Now, unfortunately, they've been able to delay me enough here to keep me from cutting off these units. Oh, and we also lost Hippold somewhere else. I'll need to put a new commander once they're no longer in combat. Well, I should do well. Part of the African Corps, right? Colonel disagrees that the colonial troops shouldn't get certain bonuses. Okay, what is here? Oh, motor torpedo boat's good. Let's patrol this area. So that'll look like that. He's still out there. They're just slipping around me this way or that way, because... Well, maybe... No, wait. Well, since they've lost that there, but they've got to be getting oil from here. That's an oil. British oil, and that's where the port will be going out through Dubai. I'm going to intercept that. Oh, damn, it didn't get enough time to... switch that up. Go on the offensive. They'll lose in the end, but I just like to do it a little better, more efficiently. Okay, these guys have made it now. We're gonna... I want a long-range version of all of this. I think that'll be here, the long range and short range. We'll promote him up. Okay, now. That's the correct. Yeah. So you can go on to them. Okay. We're going all the way down to here. I want to just see how far we can get. Can we get to there? That's my hope. Good not, but yeah. Not quite ready to counterattack. Entry unit. Command and control. Well, they've successfully, particularly I think for the AI, have been able to, oh, there we go, extract much more of their forces than I would have thought. Likely. Who are we going to put in command of this? I'm going to give it to Shuren. Han Shuren. Now, Han Shuren, I know I talked about him in the past. Interesting guy, but he only really commanded units in the RAD, or had a RAD, Reich Arbeitsdienst, somewhat. But he was also a veteran not of Tanganyika. He was a veteran of Cameroon, and if we look at that, that is very jungly. Much more so than Tanganyika. So I gave him fairly decent stats. I don't know if it's too good, but I'll prepare him both those units and use the HQ to take there. So currently it's not facing opposition. Okay, good. One down there. These guys are gonna put pressure on them. Let's see. Oh, risk. Yeah, good. I sent a few units in to keeping that from a lot of breakouts. Okay, now these guys all move around to get it. Mass assault event. Now we'll check on this. So our allies have been moving something through there and been sunk. We're still doing fairly well. Okay, they're not doing any of this. Shift over there. Oh, these guys are very much okay. So we are now global air power. That's nice. Well, maybe we're in a superpower. Did we lose some aircraft? I think that could be the situation. Let's see. Just before starting this episode, I put a few more units just on the field to get organized up. Okay, yeah. Not sure what we've lost. Probably either fighters or some of these guys. Gotta build a few more fighters. totally neglect my other armor types. Now I'm back to lost the effects. I guess we're losing more units or something, I'm not sure. Okay, twin engine armament research. I think we are, yeah, a little bit. Well, you're a little bit in the red, are we? Yeah. Okay, now these guys are here. Detach them. Like that, okay. Don't know if boarding order affects these. Invasion. We're gonna try this. Hope it doesn't go too badly. I mean, like we find that big 141 fleet or something here coming out and smashing me. Oh, okay. Oh, is that because we don't have the diplomats? We have been at 110 for a long time, though we've not been taking a lot of casualties. So I'm going to lower this down a lot. Okay, diplomacy. Okay, well, we'll have to wait a little bit, I guess, before we can do it around. Saudi Arabia again. Now that we've shifted that, we'll have a lot more here to do. Okay, we want to do the Bank for International Settlement. What down there? What's that one? I think. Okay, we don't want that one roll. Improve me on my card designs. Okay, another percentage more. Switzerland, giving money for some metal. Okay. No. There's not here yet. Okay, almost there. Oh good, these guys are going well. Well good, we've got the Maldives. Now, these guys get to fly to here. I think you might be able to guess where they're heading. These provinces are just way too big. Takes too long to get from one to the next. Roosevelt freezes Axis assets. Obviously, that's taken from the New York Times headlines there. This was one of several significant steps on the U.S. march towards war. You know, today we have the war on drugs, the war on terror, the war on poverty, the war on whatever the hell. Well, that's obviously an extreme misuse of the term war. We don't have people out there running around shooting poor people because we're trying to get rid of poverty. But if you look at truly what war is political conflict, generally speaking, between nations, though of course you can look at civil wars and revolutions and other types of war. Warfare does come in other forms than, you know, shooting bullets and dropping bombs. One of them is an economics warfare. Part of that is what we clearly see as warfare production, you know, producing tanks, bombs, bullets. The other is the other elements of the economy and society. And this is one of the things that I'm very sure of that led Japan to attack the US was its economic war with Japan over China. And that's very much involved with this gentleman here, Roosevelt. The Roosevelt family had some very deep ties into the China trade, not the, to my knowledge at least, the traditional sort of British getting Indian opium and selling it to China for tea for Britain, China trade, but the later desire for the U.S. to have international markets in China and had significant ties to that. That I guess they did sort of an Obama, you know, Obama red line in the sand, no weapons of mass destruction or chemical weapons, or we're going to do something about it. Well, and Obama thought, well, just simply by just saying that, you're going to scare the pipsqueak nation of Syria into doing what the U.S. wants to. Well, that's how the U.S. Overall, and I'm getting some of this from the Stilwell and the American Experience in China book, very good book, very much was the U.S. policy with China was one in which it couldn't enforce. It had no ability to enforce. Even if we were to have sent our pre-war Navy over to try to do something about it, it would have just got sunk. We did not have the ability to enforce our political desires in China, but we were still following a policy to try to enforce it, meaning that, oh, you can make statements, oh, we wish such and such nation didn't do something, and then just go on about our business. No, we said we didn't want them to do something, and then we took economic steps and diplomatic steps to try to make that come about, but they were entirely impotent. They would not work. Now, this, I know I'm talking about there, but this is specifically here, was freezing assets in Europe of the Axis. So we're going to, I worked a little bit, this is obviously going to mess up our relations with the US even more, because if you see, and it was not just national assets, it was assets of individuals and businesses that had been dealing with the US. So we're going to lose a bunch of money, some supplies and rare materials, though our relation, if we hadn't already got Romania in the Axis, was improved because they were included in this at the time. Sort of money and supplies and other stuff that would have been in transit potentially through neutral third parties, you know, so they wouldn't have been sunk by the British. So we're we have a little bit of a thing going here that the U.S. is doing to us, so we don't have a really, because I guess we could theoretically declare war, but we're not. Supplies for Crete, not at this time. Mulder's 100th victory. Obviously that's Mulder's there. Knight's cross with oak leaves, swords, and all the good stuff. He gained his 100th victory, and to keep him alive, because you don't want to have 5 days later Super Ace shot down over Russia, they officially pulled him out of combat at this time. It doesn't mean he didn't fly any more combat missions. From my understanding, reading a little bit about it, he was still, you know, training other pilots and doing training missions that sometimes happen to be in battlefield areas, if you will, and whatnot. So he continued some level of combat, but he was no longer an active pilot. But he'll be set up to training pilots, intercepting tactics, and air superiority tactics. We'll get a bit of a gain by moving, and this represents both him as well as other taking other top ace types out of the, you know, active flying combat into the training. Conf Group 8, Conf disbands. Okay, so we're going to lose those units. Okay. Huber something or other. West. So this sets up here. Now it'll be west. Well, we've already been using this. I don't know. Obviously, it's the historical command setup for the west with the theaters there. You know, if you've been watching me organize this, sometimes I'm putting some of these units, setting up as garrison commands under the Ersatz sort of reserve command. Sometimes I'm setting them up under, you know, Oberkommando der Wehrmacht, or this one here is Oberkommando des Heers. I don't know if those are in the exact right places or anything, but what for me it is partially immersion. It's a big thing on this game. That's why I like it better than some of the more basic war games. But also resource management and that type of thing. And part of the resource is leadership. You want your good leaders to be in command of units that are going to be in action a lot. You want other leaders. I don't want to remove him because we lost him from a good place. I'm not going to find out where. Come back. You want other leaders that will hopefully have, like quartermaster here, to reduce supply usage at times like this when they're not in much action. So sort of a balancing issue. To have a lot of chain of commands, to have one corps. That's not a good example, but well, let's find a nice Panzer Corps here. Okay, well that works, even though I don't have one, and maybe even was. Just pull down. To have, say, 3 divisions under this one Panzer Corps, no leader assigned currently, I know, but to have him with 3, that's fine and very historical and very good and flexible. But if you've got a really good leader, he's only influencing 3 units and not 5. So that's why I tend to try to max these out and not have too many leader units. Now it's up to your personal preference. If you want to go very historical, go that way. If you want to go, hey, I just want to select the corps commander and then hit that. So I select all of his units, and then I can't send them in the Soviet Union. I want to send them into, oh, buddy, I want to, I just, set out their path and then go, okay, go. And then, and you've watched me play constantly doing shifting units, doing attacks across this whole front. And it's, gets into micro. And for a lot of people, it's a lot more than they want to do. And I totally get that idea. And if you want to set up like lines of, theoretically, that would be attacking. But, set up lines and assign it to a reasonable corps of 3 divisions with 1 corps division. Great, do that. Very good, very reasonable way to play. It has its benefits. Because I'm personally very willing to do the micro and don't enjoy repeating it, but doing it once kind of thing, what I guess I'm saying is when the game crashes and I have to go redo stuff, that pisses me off. But doing it the first time for a playthrough, that's fine. I enjoy that just quite a bit. And so that doesn't bother me at all. But if you want to play without doing too much of that, okay. We're going to have to wait till these guys are organized up, and we're going to give them supplies. We're going to go all the way from Polo or Pola to the Maldives. And we still have, because we built a lot early on, we still have a lot of transports, a fair amount of escorts, and we're going to get supplies moving all the way to there. And then once we can, we're going to see about dropping into there. Colombo. Why? Because it's a limited theater. It has, we can't really see here, but massive resources there. Well, pretty big ones. But where here, I guess theoretically anywhere is a limited theater, but this is more or less an unlimited theater, meaning you can keep going and going and going and going and going and going, and the enemy can surround you with if you just have a few troops. But where here, obviously it's a narrow front, or here just a few provinces on one island, we can go in and take that before launching into India. That's sort of where we're going. This is just taking forever, which it always does, but this is a map design problem. There was some talk of improving this, but they haven't. And I don't know when or if they're really going to do it. They do a good job up here because this is where the war was fought. They don't need it in provinces that they really, really don't think they're ever going to have much infrastructure, but some of these others it would be good to get better. Okay, I guess that's where we're going to end today's episode. Thanks for viewing, thanks for liking. If you haven't already, please subscribe, and I'd love to hear your comments either about my strategy or my other thoughts about things. I'll be seeing you next time.